What is a land ethic? In order to explain the answer to that question, I need you to picture the land around us as a neighborhood of sorts, where where the residents of that neighborhood are humans, animals, and plants, all living together in one place, sharing and cooperating within this space. Aldo, Aldo Leopold, the man who wrote the essays on the land ethic and created the idea of it, is quoted as describing it as when we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. Now, this is where I believe that I should talk about my experiences with this this topic of love, experience, treating the land properly, and not only using it but also giving back to it. I used to do a lot of community service around where I used to live, just north of Johnson City, Marble Falls, and to the west of Austin, in a small town called Round Mountain. Now, I would drive to Johnson City in order to work at a rather large range preserve called the Sela Bamberger Range and Preserve. It was created a very long time ago by Mr. Bamberger, who also happened to create Church's Chicken, and that's how he acquired the land by selling the brand Church's Chicken. And I think that's very, very funny. But I'm going to talk more about that as I go into this video assignment, as well as my work at state parks that I've done volunteering here and there at, say, Enchanted Rock or Pedernales Falls. I was a frequent volunteer of Enchanted Rock, mostly in Fredericksburg, to the west of where I used to live. So, working at Bamberger Ranch and Preserve was an incredible experience, and I would never give up that experience for anything. And really, once I get to go back home soon, in later on this month, I believe I'm going to go back and continue volunteering there, especially over the summer as well. Now, I worked on a patch of land that was called Turkey Hollow. Why it was called that, I never actually found out. But there certainly were zero turkeys anywhere to be seen. And that is one of the reasons why I was working there. The entire purpose of the Sela Bamberger Ranch is to restore the land back to a state around when, like pre colonization, around when Native Americans were and other indigenous peoples were uh, first living on the land. And everything was as it should be. The bison herds were intact. They were large. They kept down the cedar population. All of that. What I would do mainly is a lot of brush clearing. I would also cut down the rampant cedar trees to try and keep them up in the hills of the hill country where they naturally roam instead of making just a huge thicket, a huge bramble, and not allowing anything to get in or out, man or animal, and would suck out all the water and choke out all kinds of life. So I would do that, and we would do burnings as well, and take the ashes and spread them around so that smaller plants could start growing in, like Johnson City bluegrass, Johnson grass, and Texas bluegrass, as well as other smaller animals that weren't able to really make a living, as you could say. And it was a really good experience. I even got the chance to be a tour guide for a group of underprivileged children who were coming from San Antonio. I can't put my finger on where it was, but I know that also I remember them talking about it a lot at the school I used to go to. And it's a great place. It's a place where man, well, humans, animals, and plants all come together and form a kind of community where where we can teach groups of people to appreciate the land and the animals and plants that live there and form a bond with it, form a community, and really just love where we lived. It was a really, really great place. Great place. And also, harkening back to really great places, I would volunteer over at Enchanted Rock State Park. If you don't know where that is, it's not in Fredericksburg, it's right next to Fredericksburg. It's a monolith of a rock, just a huge rock out in the middle of the hill country. And it's called Enchanted Rock because the indigenous people had legends about it. Because it heats up in the sun, and at night when it cools down, you can hear the cracking and popping of the rocks moving inside of it. There's also a cave that goes straight through that you can go through. I went through when I was a little kid and could fit in the cave. I wasn't a big guy. So I mostly did trail maintenance, including repairing walkways, clearing brush, and picking up litter. But to be able to see all the hikers that would come in, they bring their dogs, they bring their kids, to just see them light up and see the cleanliness of the park and all the beauty that's there, all the trails, it really is something. It really is a great thing to think about, to know that I actually contributed to that, and that is what I want to continue doing, but as a job. I'd love to get paid to take people around parks and do all that, and clean up, and really create and help create a community of people who love and respect nature. Now, as I've been saying through this whole thing, land ethics are to create and bolster a community of nature lovers, of people who respect the environment and want to continue its legacy for years and years to come, for many, many generations. And I feel like that is just, I don't know, it is the right thing to do, to create this loving community, this neighborhood, as I talked about before. A neighborhood and a community of maybe not even like minded people, just people who want to help the world.